What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you guys had a fantastic day today. And today we have plane spotting from Atlanta-Hartsfield Jackson International Airport on January 13th, 2023 for you guys. I really hope you all are excited for today's video as we have a really awesome Atlanta plane spotting session here. And we have a bunch to dive into here. So let's go ahead and get started. Back up at the Renaissance Concourse Hotel, as we know, it's absolutely fantastic. What a view it provides. And we have a bunch of planes to catch this morning. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting off here early, right as the sun's coming up here, overcast conditions, but that's completely fine like we talked about in the last one. Here we have this Delta Airlines Boeing 717-200, registered November 927 Alpha Tango. This would ironically be my ride later in the day over to Oklahoma City, which that trip report will be up next, so be sure to stay on the lookout for it. But I thought this was a fun way to start since obviously that was the plane that ironically I was going to fly later in the day, so how cool is that to start out today's video. Then we have a Frontier Airbus A320neo. This is Wiley to Bison getting towed over after operating some nice services there, taking a little break. So good looking aircraft, very glad to see it there. Really good one. And we're just going to get back to the grind. Delta 757 just feels like we're picking up right where we left off in the last video, and we pretty much are. This is pretty much how the sequence was in real life as well, so great to see it. Love getting Concourse D and E there in the background. It looks awesome. I think the camera was kind of struggling with the limited amount of light as well, so if it's a little out of focus on some of these and then goes back into focus like we see here, that is why. Here's a Gen 2 without winglets. They're great planes. They never get old. If you want to see a 717 or 757 and not get bored of it, I would say that Atlanta is the place for you. So good looking aircraft here, rocketing off to the sky. First landing, or second landing rather, of the day, I shall say. This is another 717. This one is 995 coming in. Again, these aircraft don't get old. Glad to see it here. And 943 as well, looking fantastic. There's Chester on a 737-900 taking off. I believe they have Seattle and Portland. I really like this shot. You got Max Dillon back there, got that model. Cargo Lux, a blank 7.4. And then you also got some various regional jets, WestJet also back there, so really cool shot there, and great to see Chester. Great to get some nice beacon shots of the clouds too. I thought that was one nice added component of the spotting session. Here's yet another 757-200. We flew 658 later in the year, so stay on the lookout for that. Here is 900 Delta Uniform, a 737-900, first up of the day. Really cool aircraft, want to fly one soon. Here's a 320 once again. Again, just feels like the last video, but it's great. Can't complain. Here's multiple wardrobe malfunctions on the 320 for United. You have the nose cone, which is an old livery. You got the back half of the number 1 engine and the front half the number 2 engine, so quite nice to see that there for United. 409 Uniform Alpha, that one's probably getting close to retirement, and also right here as well, right there by the wings, so that is a wardrobe malfunction talent show, rather, I should say. 321 coming in. Really nice to get all these various angles as well today. That's what I've really noticed through the spotting session so far. And here is this 767-300ER with nice winglets. Southwest 737-700, first one of the day. They have a really nice little establishment here, and I ended up cutting it here because I took a video of this, so if I remember, I'll insert that during the next intermission, but it was really cool to get that. But great to get the 767 getting towed right in front of us. 737-800, first of the day. Great to see it. Excited to catch more Scimitar offerings in the future. Speaking of Scimitars, here's its partner in crime, the 900, as it was raining a little bit, so that's also why some of these shots were a little grainy, but of course it made up for it once we had that water spray. As you can see right here, really nice lineup. I love this concourse with all the various Delta regional jets. You got American section in there, WestJet. It's a really cool assortment there, and also this shot as well with all the various aircraft. Was really happy to see this FedEx 757 come in. Most of the time these fly at night, so I was really glad to finally get some really cool shots of one. And as you'll see here just in a moment, here comes the water spray. Again, really pleased with this. Here come the really nice shots. There's a really good one. And again, very glad to get to see it here on this Friday it was. ATI 767-200 on the south side. Glad to see that. Certainly a beat up one at that, but a really good looking aircraft, so glad to see that right there. And here's yet another CRJ 700. It wasn't too windy, but a little bit, so that aircraft certainly saw that on that landing. So looking good here for 368 Charlie Alpha and Endeavor 700, and trying to get the camera focused here for yet another 717. So cool. Let me see if I can get a better shot of the water spray getting thrown up. I honestly forgot that I had a picture like this, so great to see this right here. And again, another great offering. Yet another 900 right here, looking super nice. The backdrops of these pictures are also just fantastic in general, so glad to see that. Sun's going to start breaking here a little bit, so here it starts with this 737-800 taking off for X. They are very nice looking aircraft. I also thought it was nice to get the water spray kick up off the rotation. And as you can see, the shots are really starting to get cleaned up here as the light comes into play. So that was certainly a nice component. At least the clouds were also dark, so it made for some nice contrast. And that is the first round of intervals, so we'll head over to the next one. And welcome back to the sequence with the 737-800 like we saw. And we also have a Southwest aircraft to go with it. So very nice there on the south side. Another Boeing 717, kind of a double shot right there too. They're great aircraft. Love the reverse spray in these latest cases. Love the slats as well. That's a nice observation from this particular example. And Delta 321 there on 26 left blasting off. They have a really nice presence here all across the country, but Atlanta certainly has their fair share. Also, you've probably seen Team USA in the background of a bunch of these shots. Unfortunately, I did not get a really good shot of it, but it was still really cool that it was in the background and I got to see it. So that was awesome. And Delta 319 finally showing up. And I thought these shots were really cool, even though the sun kind of made it a little bit backlit. It kind of made the reflection of the water really cool, so I thought that turned out really well. Another good example. Yes, I did start trying to pan some of these pictures after getting a really nice assortment, as you saw right there. So let's see how some of them came out. And as you can tell, this 321 was certainly not going very good to start the experiment. So let's see if it gets better. Spoiler alert, it really doesn't. But I think there might be a couple of decent ones in here. It was a little cold, so that was one contributing factor. And actually, now that I think about it, it was pretty windy, but the wind was blocked by the hotel, if I remember correctly. So I'm trying to figure out what particularly went wrong here with several of these pans. This 321 also came out as a negative in this case. 717 wasn't going too well yet. Here is this 737-900. Let's see how it goes. Spoiler alert, I think this is also a failure. I do think it does get better, though. We'll have to see. As you can see, we were pretty close on several of those, but that one still wasn't quite better. Here comes the 717. Can't believe I was trying to pan 717s. That one's all right. Not great, but at least progress. I think I start to kind of get it figured out. That Spirit's actually pretty good right there. I could actually work with that. That's a pretty good pan there, the 320. Yet another hybrid Aviation J777X would appreciate this. Spirit.com engines, but yet the Spirit sketch titles. It is cool to see the hybrids. I think they look pretty nice. That one was close, but you had to pull anyways. This one's pretty good. Needs quite a bit of work, but right concept. Here comes a 737-800 with the Wi-Fi box and antennas. Love the shadow there from the sun. That's certainly nice. And a 767 for FedEx. Love the effort. Very nice aircraft. Glad to see that rotating right there. Let me go back to the good shot. That one's really good. And I thought that this one came out pretty cool too. So just needs a little bit of leveling work, but overall, a really nice shot right there. Very glad to add it to the portfolio. And the FedEx 767 is a great plane. Fly on it if you can. I'm kidding. You got a list. That's a reference. You got a list. Here comes a Gen 1 757. This is 712 Tango Whiskey. These normally are in the Boston, New York area, but cool to see it here in this case. And a 717 go with it. That's a really cool shot right there. I might make that the thumbnail. That's really nice. Very cool to see that right there. It's really good. Certainly the definition of ATL. Here's the Newark partner in crime on the 900. Also look at that water from the nose landing gear. Very cool in that particular case. Good looking aircraft. And here comes that Gen 2 757 that also came to park, which is very nice. Did I get a good shot? I was a little off on timing, but definitely almost was there. It's tough on those nose shots sometimes. I think all aviation photographers could relate in one way or another. Here comes this Gen 2 757 without winglets. Good looking aircraft, man. It looks really, really nice. In fact, this might have been the aircraft I used for that how to edit your aviation photos video that I did last spring. I think it was in like March. But a great aircraft right here. That video needs a little bit of work, but overall it's a pretty good offering. Is that already it for this round? It is. Let's get into the next one. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to this Delta 757 rotating here on 26 left. Again, great looking aircraft. Came out really well there on the clarity, so very happy with that. Although I think I'm ready for R7. Speaking of which, here comes an Airbus A350-900 for Delta. The big lens was a little much to try to get on the frame here, but very nice to see that. Back to panning we go here with this Delta 717. And as you can tell, it is not going very well. Hopefully it gets better. Here's the Airbus A350, really nice. 574 Delta Zulu. Great looking aircraft. That's a good pan right there. That came out, actually both those came out really nice. Let's see if we get a good rotation. That one's good. Not that would have been really nice. That's a strikeout. That's a strikeout. Now this one's really on the border because of this pole right here, but I think I could probably work with that at the end of the day, which is a pretty interesting shot. The rig was a little fuzzy, but compared to what we've had, that's really good. 717, let's see how this one goes. I was in panning heaven. This one's pretty good. You know, it's not perfect, but it's the concept. The aircraft's in focus, the background's blurred. It looks really nice. Not too bad. Certainly not perfect, but certainly one of the better ones of the day. No question about it. You can see how many dust spots there are on the camera that it can't pick up. 767-400 and Airbus A350 right there. Pick up in regards to the auto sensor cleaning it, by the way. 320 looking very nice here. Former Northwest, as we all know. With a wardrobe malfunction in conjunction. Another non-winglet on the south side, looking great. They were towing all kinds of planes in here on this day. So there's the Gen 1 757 rather, and then we had the 321 off to its right. Here's this 737-900. Really great airplanes. Big fan of them. Jet 1 747. Okay, I got super lucky with this. I was accidentally in my panning settings, and as you can tell, this was panned. Luckily, this shot came out really good. I got super lucky. I've never seen a Jet 1 747, and there's a pretty decent chance I will not see one again, if not for a very long time. They are really hard to come across. I don't know where they normally fly to, but I think for Atlanta, this was a pretty rare occasion. So as you can see, Jet 1 there on the front, you have this purplish color underbelly. Really cool aircraft. Yes, it's basic, but this will probably be the only time that I see it for the immediate future to my knowledge. So this is a really nice catch. Again, got super lucky because you can see here I was in panning settings, but luckily this shot somehow came out looking good. I'm very pleased. Luckily, a bunch of editing will fix that up. Really great catch right there. Got super lucky again that it was I was able to get at least one good one. That one's okay as well. Really cool catch though, nevertheless. Was really happy about it. That one would have been good if it wasn't for the pull. I'd probably get the pull out if I had to, but it is a really good aircraft. Did I somehow pull in another one? Let's see. I did not. What a nice aircraft. Looks really good. And don't pan at home, kids. Of course, kidding. This CRJ 900, that would have been a really cool one with the tower, but that was a fumble and a half. And the rest of them were not coming out looking too hot. Here's the Southwest 737. Luckily, I got the settings right for this guy. Cool with the reflection and everything. Looks nice for different. And let's see, from here, we go into this Boeing 737-900ER, and as you can see, the poles sometimes get in the way, but once they get over them, it's pretty good. 320 on the south side, looking great. And we have this United Airlines A319 looking fantastic as well. Sun breaking out, so of course you already know I was going to the ramp to try to get a nice contrast shot. That's exactly what we did here with 712 Tango Whiskey. Great 757 offering. Is this the Sea Line? I think is it Fran? Let's see. It is Fran the Sea Line. So Fran the Sea Line over here on the south side. Great to see Fran. He's a really good guy, so that certainly made my day. Being a little facetious, but it was nice to see Fran there on the south side. Great guy. Awesome to get to catch him. That's absolutely effort. 8602 Foxtrot, a 737-800 for Southwest. Finally getting one of those in the lineup here. And I think he got a little double with Fran if it would have went in focus, so not too bad overall. Yet another Gen 2 with winglets for Delta. They never get old. Here's this Airbus 320. Love the thrust reversers, getting some sun in there. I'm a big fan. Southwest Airlines 737-700 on the roll. After landing, here's a standard 767-300ER for Delta. That big lens was going to work, man. We really got some pretty good shots over there. Another Delta 717, and guess what? Another one. That's a really cool shot. So you got the 350 over there at E and 4 737s. I think 4 737 variants. How cool is that? Plus the 717, of course. That is a very cool shot. And again, he is off to Y. Not sure. 8624 Juliet. I feel like I may have flown this aircraft. I'll check real quick. I'll make it fast, I promise. But that sounds very familiar. I've flown several of these Southwest 800s lately. So let me take a look really quick here. As my phone loads, I'll proceed through the sequence. Here's this Delta Airlines Boeing 757. Looking really nice. In fact, let's see here. Apologies that it's taking just a second, but I really want to see this because I am fairly confident that sounds very familiar. That really sounds familiar. So let me check real quick. I know this isn't the best use of time. I apologize, but I have to see. It's really important. But here's the 757, and then you got the CRJ 200 8903 Alpha. Very nice to see that right there. That's effort, to say the very least. Looking very good right there. And how about this? Speaking of 737s, the Canyon Blue Southwest 737-800. This is certainly one of my last times seeing one. I think at Orlando was the final time that I got to see one. So I'm trying to get this to work. Nevertheless, really great to see this. They are pretty much gone at this point for the 800 with scimitars, so I was certainly very glad to get to see this on this day. So one of my last times catching it. It's a great aircraft. It's a great livery overall. It's really, really nice. So absolutely crazy to see that right there, but that's exactly what you would expect from the boys. So looking really good here on Canyon Blue. That shot's really cool right there. Another Canyon Blue, a double Canyon Blue shot in 2023. That's kind of unbelievable. So you got 8634 Alpha, and then a 737 with 700 with skimmies, which those also are gone at this point. So what a shot right here, plus all those Delta 717s and the CR9. Quite the effort, I have to say. That was really impressive. So really glad to see that right there, and that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, I got it to load here, so let me check really quick. It sounds very familiar. I'm sorry, just really, I feel like I possibly flew it at some point lately. Let's see. I suppose not. That sounded super familiar. Maybe it's a Gemini release, or maybe somebody did it. I'm not sure what it was, but that sounded really familiar. Anyways, apologies for the deviation. Back into this Delta 737-900 taking off, looking very nice, and a 717 on the south side, rocket ship on to where it's going. So the Delta 717 actually did a turn during this time, so it left, and it must have been like Chattanooga, a really short flight. Came back, reloaded up, and as you can see, here it is again. So caught it twice and then flew its next turn. So how cool was that? This flight was probably a little bit longer that time, but looking good. Yet another CRJ 200 for Endeavor. Long live. And this is 282 Whiskey November, major sister ship of 252, the model that NG made. But very nice to see that right there. That was certainly one of my last times seeing a 700 with skimmies, so that was very nice in Canyon. That is. There was an 800 right here, and here's a 321 blasting off. Once you get the focus going, this shot's really nice with the jello. That looks really good. Yeah, I was all after that Canyon Blue. Here's Delta 737-800 and American 175 on the top, looking very nice. There she is right there. Yet another 717, and here comes another 200. How about that? And a 319. What? That's effort. That might be the thumbnail instead. Look at that. You got a CR2, 319, about a dozen 717s back there, and all of those 321s, man, and 739s. That is effort, man. That's a really clean effort right there. Very glad to see that right there. That's effort. Is that already in the sequence? It is. What a talent show this was, man. Very impressive to see that right here. Here is a Delta Airlines Boeing 767-400 on the roll. Looking absolutely fantastic for 827 Mike Hotel. Love that 764, man. It's a great plane. We get better lighting at Cincinnati in a future video, so stay on the lookout. Here's the Swan. Really nice to see this right here. I believe that's what this is. And another 764 getting towed. Speaking of which, another non-winglet 767 UPS. Very cool to see this. This is a pretty tough one to find around the United States. So when you do find it, it is certainly a talent show. 369 uniform Papa. There you go, Syracuse. Very nice to see this right here. That shot's really great right there with the perfect ISO setting. That was ideal. We're really glad to see that. They are pretty tough to come across, so that is certainly a W.5 for the Atlanta-Hartsfield Jackson International Airport. More 717s and 757s, and yes, look at that. The whooping crane, excuse me, this is a crane. Very nice to see that right there. What an effort. And he was doing good that day. 8825 Quebec, I flew its sister ship 8824. Glad to see that here. The Maxes are great planes. So Southwest certainly facilitating those at the Hartsfield Jackson Airport. Here's Delta 739 and another Southwest 737-700 in the Canyon, the one that we already talked about. I really like the shot with the Frontier blurred. I thought that came out looking pretty nice. Really cool to see that right there. Great looking airplane. Looks really, really good. Rocketing off for X, Y, and Z. Looking very good right there. And as we continue to proceed, I snapped as many as I could. Here's a CR9, great aircraft, and yet another Gen 2 without winglets. There's the Canyon 738, a Hart 700, and 717s. Very cool shot right there. That one also turned out looking very good. Spirit, this time we have the full A319 with the filled-in titles everywhere, so really good. And again, trying to get the camera to focus. It was kind of a struggle at times, but this is looking better. 974 rocketing off for somewhere, looking very good. I think there may have been light rain off and on, but the clouds certainly look pretty dark. 822 Delta X-Ray, a Gen 1 757, probably back out to JFK or Boston. Sometimes they'll do a turn out of ATL with these, like San Francisco, so maybe that's what that was. And another Gen 2 with winglets. So cool that they have so many of these here. It's really nice. There's another 800 and a Spirit 321. Yet another hybrid. Spirit.com engines and scratched in titles. So many hybrids floating around. Very cool to see that. And another Delta 320 this time. And another newer Max. This is 8745 Kilo. No consistency with that last letter for Southwest Maxes. Here's a Gen 2 with winglets and yet another beautiful 717-200. What more would you expect from ATL when it decides to load? Cool. That was a cool shot. Let me actually go back to that. Got a little bit of blue on the top, those pretty dark clouds, and then the main layer is Cirrus. That looks really nice. And 7.5 on the very bottom, if you can even see that, looking good. Here's this Airbus 321. Really nice assortment here of tails. We got the WestJet Old Livery Max, 717, a CR9, and then the American RJ9 along with another Delta, a Delta taxiing, and then you got the Crane, a Bobcat, and a Lynn. I think that's a Bobcat in the middle there. Could be wrong. Some sort, or it might be some kind of dog. I'm not completely sure, but that looks really nice there at those D gates. That's effort. Yet another 717. There's the same 220 that came on the previous spotting video, 3077 Juliet. It gotta be my new favorite 220 now. Came back the next morning, so very cool to see that, and Canyon Blue in the back. Okay, this was a really cool catch. Really glad to see this. This is the Cargo Lux Boeing 747-8 freighter with the mask livery. Thought this came out pretty good considering that it's so far down there. Unfortunately, I think I had my 18-300 on because I think the spotting session is about to conclude, which that was unfortunate. But nevertheless, looking really nice that we were still able to capture that. Nice special catch. Was very pleased about that. And yes, it does. Here's Delta Flight Museum with the DC-7. Here is the Boeing 717, which that trip report's coming up soon. But I left in a couple of additional pictures because I wanted to show all of you one particular, back at Oklahoma City. I had a bonus catch at Oklahoma City that I wanted to throw into this video since we were already here. And no, not these or that. I'll show you. You'll see what it is here in a second. This is one of them. This was a T6 at the Tinker Air Force Base. Very cool to see this, but that wasn't the main one. Since the lighting was so good and since it was already on the SD card, I thought I would throw in these shots the same day after the Atlanta spotting and after I went to Delta Flight Museum, which that video should be out at this point. What happened was I flew back on Delta 717. I was driving home, saw that E6B was working the pattern, and the lighting was so good, as you can see here, that I couldn't pass up not stopping to get it real quick. What a great plane here from the Navy. Really nice. Thought that I would show that before concluding today's video. Turned out really good. Overall, great aircraft. Looks awesome. And let me get back to one of those highlights there at ATL so we can conclude today's video. I really hope all of you enjoyed it. Really fun spotting session. Really enjoyed it. I hope each and every one of you did as well. It was a bunch of fun. Had a great time out at ATL on this day, and we got more ATL content coming soon with the one-day show from this last October. So I hope each and every one of you are looking forward to that in the future. But nevertheless, on from here, since this is kind of the update portion, I'll kind of throw it in here. Let's go with this one. This one looks pretty good. So what you can expect from here is we'll have a couple of big videos for the Austin day trip. Initially, I thought that was going to be more than what it's going to end up being. We'll do all the flights in one video. We'll have a full Austin spotting session video. That'll probably be the next main plane spotting video you'll see. Once that's concluded, then I believe we move into the Cabo trip. We'll do that fairly fast. We'll do the Americans in one video, and I'll probably end up just pairing the United 320 with Southwest, although I might do them individually. We'll see. That will be next, and then we'll do a nice little run real quick for the Dallas one-day show. We had American 175 and 738 for that. We do have quite, I think, 2 or 3 spotting videos for that. Stay on the lookout. We'll also have the Frontiers Museum of Flight, and what's the other museum? The C.R. Smith Museum, so expect those too. And then we'll move into additional trips from there. But we got a couple of weekend trips here that I'm ready to knock out for all of you, so I hope you're looking forward to that. And then we'll get into the really big trip, hopefully in the near future, maybe early 2024 with the Pacific Northwest trip from the summer. We have a bunch of content from that, so I'm looking forward to that. A bunch of Canada Aviation, so looking very forward to that. We'll also have a spotting video from Cabo too. That one went a little under the radar. I kind of forgot about that, but that actually turned out pretty well. So looking forward to that. And I hope each and every one of you are as well. But nevertheless, that'll do for today's video, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.